Most flags are boring. Usually it's just 3 random colours thrown together, and they don't even have the decency to put a big maple leaf on top. On the other hand, some are more unique. 2 national flags feature a dragon, some have a double-headed eagle, and this one isn't even rectangular. A flag is meant to make a statement about its country, so something crazy must be going on in Mozambique, seeing as their flag features an AK-47. The trouble is though, once you have an official flag, it's very difficult to change it. One of the more striking flags is South Africa's, but until 1994 it looked like this, which to be fair is also pretty unique. Inside the old one were 3 different mini flags, those of the UK and 2 Afrikaner states that existed in the late 1800s. The first Europeans to settle in South Africa were the Dutch, whose descendants are now known as Afrikaners. As such, the 3 mini flags were chosen as a compromise between them and the British. And this was not just the flag of South Africa. Until 1990, the neighbouring country of Namibia was military occupied by the government of South Africa. In fact, it wasn't even known as Namibia yet. It had the entirely unique name Southwest Africa. I can't quite put my finger on why that's a bad name for a country. I just know that it is. But anyway, with the fall of South Africa's apartheid system in the 1990s, they wanted a new flag, so that other ethnic groups could also be represented. What resulted was a flag with 6 colours, merging the pre-existing ones with the colours of Pan-Africanism. That's why at the time of its introduction, it was the only national flag to have 6 colours. Almost the exact inverse of South Africa is North Macedonia, a country most people outside of Europe have never even heard of. A former state of Yugoslavia, it has since been in a diplomatic dispute with Greece. Both nations claim true inheritance of the legacy of Macedonia, the historical region that spawned Alexander the Great. So on gaining independence, they chose a flag bearing an ancient Macedonian symbol known as the Vagina Sun. Yes, really, its name comes from the Greek town Vagina, where in the 1970s a group of royal tombs were excavated. And speaking of Greece, they really weren't happy about it. That symbol is strongly associated with the family of Alexander the Great, and displaying it on their flag was seen by many Greeks as provocative. So with more urgency than anything they have done in the last 1,000 years, Greece actually trademarked the symbol, arguing it was theirs and theirs only. In truth, areas of both countries were once part of a Macedonian kingdom, but with North Macedonia being a new nation facing poverty and uncertainty, they decided to just let Greece win this one. In 1995, a new flag was designed, which when you think about it is very similar, but also very different. It's like if you told an AI chatbot to recreate the old one in the style of a Soviet mural. Still today, they have that weird Soviet mural as their national flag, and to be honest, it's one of my favourites, even if it was born from an entire country getting bullied. Since 1911, this has been the Portuguese flag. Between then and 1834, Portugal had been a constitutional monarchy similar to the UK. But around the turn of the century, people were growing uneasy with the status quo. Portugal's economy was stagnant, and twice she declared bankruptcy. The situation kept getting worse, until 1908 when the king and his heir were assassinated by 2 Republican revolutionaries. Then 2 years later, the entire monarchy was overthrown in favour of a republic, and as per usual, a new flag was drawn up. The previous flag had simply been the one used by Portuguese monarchs, white and blue to represent Portugal's naval history, and the national coat of arms in centre. Much was changed in 1911, the actual proportion between the 2 colours for one. The crown was also removed, and added was the armillary sphere, a symbol associated with Brazil. This was a deliberate hint to a time when Portugal was a world power, as Republicans claimed the monarchy was holding back their nation's true potential. Speaking of which, the big change was the colour scheme. Red and green were the colours of Portugal's Republican Party, and since they were in charge, they just ran with it. To be honest, I prefer the old ones. Red and green isn't a great combination. That's why Freddy Krueger was a green and red sweater. Director Wes Craven actually researched what colour combo is most unsettling to the human eye. So yeah, Portugal should probably go back to the white and blue. Some countries seem more prone to flag changes than others, and as with most things, Afghanistan is number 1. In just a 102-year span, they've done it 30 times. That's how chaotic Afghan history is. Basically, it's just a constant shift between Islamic emirates, kingdoms, dictatorships, and short-lived republics. There's a reason they call Afghanistan the graveyard of empires, and their weirdly extensive collection of former flags proves this. The United States have also changed their flag a lot. The idea is they have 1 star per American state, so when there were only 20 states, the flag had just 20 stars. Since 1960 it has been unchanged, with Hawaii the 50th state being admitted that year. 50 is a good number, and if any more American territories were ever admitted, it would just look weird. But there is a solution. If Puerto Rico, for example, were to join, they could just get rid of one of the older ones. There are 2 states called Dakota. I've never understood why. There's also a state called Rhode Island, most of which is on the mainland. Any of those 3 could easily be gotten rid of.